This week's social story. That's where we post 3 stories on our social media and you decide what we take a closer look at. This week's choices: Luigi Mangione and the death penalty, the medical issue in space forcing NASA to evacuate astronauts, or awards season getting underway. And with 51% of the vote, you chose Luigi Mangione and the death penalty. All right, he was in court yesterday where his attorneys argued the federal judge should take the death penalty off the table. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December 2024. And for more on this, I'm joined by ABC News investigative reporter Sasha Pezenik, along with ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmire. Hello, you two. Thanks for joining me on this. Brian, I want to start with you. The federal judge has not yet ruled on whether to exclude the death penalty in Mangione's case. Which factors do judges consider when making that kind of decision?
Yeah, let me see if I can explain this well enough for everyone who voted on social media. This question is whether or not this crime of firearm-related murder is death eligible. And for that, you need 2 things. You need the crime that makes it eligible, firearm-related murder. That definitely covers it. And the next one is you need either a predicate act or some sort of aggravating factor. Now, if you listen to this hearing or follow some of the news, you probably heard a lot about the stalking charge. And for the defense, is arguing that they're saying stalking by its nature is not, quote unquote, a crime of violence. It doesn't have physical injury to it because you can stalk someone without any form of violence. But the prosecution is saying, yes, there was violence involved in the stalking. Look what happened to this person. Look at this brutal murder. And the judge is going to have to look at both arguments, see what case law supports either argument, and then decide whether or not this is going to be a case that involves a death penalty or not.
Now, Sasha, the judge also suggested yesterday that Mangione's backpack was lawfully seized when police arrested him in Pennsylvania. So why is that evidence so key to the prosecution's case?
It's absolutely key to the prosecution's case, more specifically what's inside the backpack. When Mangione was found at that McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, just about a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, inside it, prosecutors say that police in Altoona, Pennsylvania found, among other things, writings that Mangione had made that prosecutors say points directly to unambiguous evidence of his motive, as well as the alleged murder weapon, other items they found that prosecutors now want to use in their case. If they can keep the backpack and what's in it in the case, then they have a lot more of a robust set of evidence to point to that could potentially link him directly to the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. If they do not get to keep the backpack and what's in it, then they're going to have to resort to other evidence. Now, the federal judge yesterday said that the backpack was lawfully seized, and she reserved the right to rule on the specific items that were found in it. So we'll have to see where we go from here.
Yeah, we do. All right, I want to go to the other side. Brian, what stands out to you about the defense's strategy so far?
It's interesting. I actually kind of focused on the backpack, the strategy of trying to get it out. Now, understand, we've already seen a hearing when it comes to the suppression of those items through the arrest of Luigi Mangione on the state side. But from the state side, there are different standards of person's Fourth Amendment right than in the feds. And so I thought, as someone who practices in the SDNY, it might be a pretty hard argument for them to get anything suppressed from the federal standpoint. But their arguments are pretty strong. I'm a little bit jealous at some point. I want to use them in my own cases in the future. And I think there might be an argument to at least have a hearing. Whether or not they win, I think that's a greater long shot in the federal court than in the state. But that stood out to me that the judge is at least still considering the contents of the backpack.
All right, I want to look ahead now. Sasha, what's next for Mangione's federal and state cases?
Well, one of the most important things that we learn is that we could now see a trial before 2026 ends. The judge yesterday said that it's likely that we could see a trial scheduled for the end of this year if the death penalty stays on the table. It could be January of 2026, possibly December of 2026 or January of next year. And that would bring it right up to the 2-year anniversary of when this all happened. If it is no longer a capital case, then we could see it as early as October. There are a bunch of other evidentiary issues that both judges have to rule on in both the federal and the state case. What can be kept in, what's out, and so a lot to look forward to in the coming months.
All right, Brian, Sasha, thank you. Please come back again and keep us posted. All right, thanks a lot.